There we go. All right, we're here. Just a couple days away from the Homestead race. It hasn't really been the exciting chase we all hoped it would be, but we'll still cover the last. We'll at least do the preview anyway. Um, at least this week's race at Phoenix had some excitement, especially towards the end. So we'll get more into that. But obviously, the big thing on our mind right now is which of the four remaining drivers is going to become the next champion. Still a fucked up format.
Champion in quotes because
Champion quotes.
at this point, I kid you not, I don't. That word means nothing to me in
Yeah.
NASCAR. When they say this is your new champion, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, there's really no champion anymore.
Yeah, the defending champion missed a third of the racing season last year.
Yeah.
Not really much to. It's amazing.
Yeah, like what other sport could that ever happen in?
Never.
People always justify the playoff system because like every other sport has it, but it's like you can never get away with this anywhere else. You can't just miss a third of the regular season and be the champion. Like that proves how stupid it is.
Yep. Uh-huh. Well, even by 2013 standards, Kyle Busch never would have been the champion.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that's understood. Even by 20.
It's just stupid. All the championship means is like you won Homestead. Honestly, that's what it really means. It's like you are the defending champion, the Ford EcoBoost 400. That's it. You're like the seat. I mean, it doesn't even make sense to call him a season's champion because it's only decided in the final 10 races. So that's not even a season.
We were this close to calling Ryan. We were very close to calling Ryan Newman the 2014 champion. I just want people to remember that.
Yeah. That, I mean, not only that, but if you remember, Newman only led 41 laps all season. The reason that number still sticks in my head is because I couldn't believe it when I saw it going into that race. It was like he's literally like not even led an entire fuel run all season, and we could crown him the champion. Like, how absurd is that? So, but I don't know.
Like, I've said this so many times before. I don't know. I guess if it's Edwards, I mean, that's probably the guy France does not want to win.
Yeah, probably.
He's the least popular out of the four. I just want it to blow up in Brian France's face. I would have hoped for Timothy Peters to win it tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for too.
Yeah. So tomorrow I'll root for Allgaier.
Yeah. Allgaier, he could do it. I mean, I think that's pretty plausible.
Blake Koch missed it by 2 points. He was so fucking close.
That killed me. I'm not even a Blake Koch fan, but just the dream of having a potential champion with 0 career top fives was just far too enticing.
His own, I don't think he has a career top 5 in his.
No, he doesn't. I checked. Out of like 8 years that he's been in Cup, or I mean in Xfinity, he's never had a top 5.
His best finish this year has been an 8th place finish, which was I think a tie. I think he's finished 8th twice, and one of them was the Phoenix race that they just did last week in the Xfinity. Like that's fucking insane.
Yep.
Hey, you know what I say? Chris Buescher, 2017 champion.
Yeah. I just it really could like go to anybody, and I wouldn't care anymore. They could give it to Danica, and it like I would still be this like kind of apathetic.
All she needs to do is get us a rain win at a restrictor plate track, a win in the rain. Then she has to just make it barely, like in the first 3 races, get lucky at Talladega to make it into the final 8. Then she just has to have some kind of magic run, like at Martinsville.
Or just stay out of trouble.
I mean, at Martinsville, stay out of trouble at Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix. Like she has to have like a miracle, like top 10 finish in all of them on speed.
Yeah.
Or maybe she can have one rain race. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then she'll either win, and then she'll either win Homestead by staying out of pit road before
No,
before a
he'll
rain
win
delay.
Homestead because like the prospect of a woman champion will be too tantalizing to Brian France, and he'll just give her an Indy car for the race. Like he'll give her like 2011, like GoDaddy, number 5, fucking Andretti Motorsports car.
Maybe.
They just like inspection won't even bat an eye.
Yeah. And then she'll win Homestead by staying out of pit road before the rain comes in, and it'll just be past the halfway point, and she
Yeah.
will have the lead.
It'll be, yeah, exactly. They'll hit like, lap 134, and it'll be like, somebody spills a water bottle or something on the track, and it's like, oh, we've lost the track. We're gonna have to call this one.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the dream scenario, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be Brian France magically. I'm sorry, Brian Scott out of retirement for next year. Yeah, the final 4 for next year: Brian Scott, who will also have to come out of retirement, Danica Patrick, Chris Buescher, and who else? Fuck it, David Reagan. That'll be the championship for.
Yeah,
for
that
20.
would actually be amazing if like all 4 teams were like severe underdogs by some miracle, like some astronomical odds. Those final 4 like somehow duke it out for like the top 25th spot at Homestead. Like whoever stays only 2 laps down wins the championship.
I'd watch that. I'd watch that race just for. I'd watch that race just to see the fumes coming through Brian France's ears.
Yeah, I mean,
They'll show his face on the TV.
Yeah, he'll be like just drinking himself to death in the booth.
Realizing that his sport's about to come to a crashing end.
Yeah, he's gonna look like one of those like Hillary supporters when they broke the news that Trump won. He's just gonna be like dejected, staring at the ground, like tears coming down.
Yeah, that was yep. That's still an image I remember. The Hillary supporters. That's feel kind of bad for those people. I'm pretty sure they'll get over it eventually, but they're probably going to see those images are probably going to be on the internet forever.
Yeah, I would not want to be known as one of those people for sure. God, that'd be awful. To like have your face associated with like a crybaby movement, pretty much.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Enough goofing off. So I'll start it off with Kurt Busch, who I was actually a little surprised did not pull it off. I wasn't surprised he didn't pull it off, but I expected him to be a lot more competitive in the Phoenix race.
Yeah.
At least a top 5 contender. He wasn't even that.
Yeah, I agree. I really, like I said last time, I kind of called him to at least get a top 5 and possibly win it, and he never even came close. I mean, he ran probably like 15th all day. Yeah, so I don't know. That was kind of strange.
At least like last year, he was able to make up the positions after he jumped the start.
Yeah.
This time, he at least showed he was capable of producing speed. This was actually kind of pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's good though because
hold on. Well, he did finish 5th though, but that was due to the late race shuffling.
Yeah, that was due to like one of the most tumultuous shakeups in the top 5 that I've ever seen in the course of like 10 laps. It was like almost like looking at like a Talladega scoring monitor with like Joey Logano, who looked like he was like going to lose the top 5 to Kevin Harvick and was like really struggling, and then somehow stuff happens and he wins. And then Matt Kenseth, who was like, pulling away with the victory in hand, and suddenly he finishes 30th or whatever.
We'll go over Kenseth later, just because of the insane circumstances, and quite frankly, I think this is more disappointing than what happened to him in last year at Kansas.
Really, honestly, the only time I can remember seeing someone's championship hopes just completely evaporate like that was like Jeff Gordon in 2014 at Texas, where like he went from leading the race to wrecked in a matter of like a minute, pretty much. and just got taken. I mean, Kansas was even worse because it was like, everything was on the line. It was the final elimination race. And he went from literally winning his way into Homestead to getting completely knocked out.
He didn't even have to win his way in. He could have made it in on position.
Well, right, but I mean, he was going to win, really. I don't see how he would have lost if he didn't get wrecked there.
But even if he let Bowman pass him, he would have still got in, even if it was a second place finish.
No, I agree, but just complete reversal of circumstances. Like, you're leading the race on a green-white checkered, and then suddenly you're 30th. Or I don't even know where he finished, but something like that. Probably worse than 30th.
Well, I'll just say this. What would we say about Kurt Busch for next year? I mean, I know he's always that guy who makes it into the chase, but he's that guy who maybe gets lucky and gets 1 or 2 wins a year. Maybe he surprises us a little bit in the chase, but it's never someone. But it's never someone anybody. No serious analyst is ever gonna consider him to make it to the championship for. Is that true? I think that trend continues for next year as well.
Yeah. The only indicator, I guess, would be those 2 Michigan races, and I think it was Kentucky was the other one, where they ran the super low downforce, which looks like it's going to be the package for next year. I don't remember Kurt Busch. I don't remember where he finished in any of those races, but I don't remember him being fast either.
Well, he does good on the road courses, and especially Sonoma. And
Yeah.
he won at I think he won the Pocono race this. No, not yet.
Yeah.
No, it was the Pocono race.
He won the the June Pocono race.
And I think that's his second win at Pocono. He actually does very well. He does very well at Pocono. I think people forget that.
Yeah, it's one of his probably like top 4 tracks, I would think.
Probably top 3.
Yeah, maybe.
We're probably never going to see him win the restricted plate track, which is
kind of.
I have mixed feelings about that. I want to see somebody new win at the restrictor plates, but I just think Kurt Busch is such a scumbag that it gives me a shot of joy knowing that he has not yet won a restrictor plate.
Yeah, well, you say that, and he's going to win the 500 next year. So.
Like I can get maybe a Logano or a Hamlin. That's kind of cool, but fuck, I'm not gonna put up with one of the Busch brothers winning the 500.
Yeah, I would hate it if Kyle. I'm gonna be at Daytona next year, and if Kyle Busch is leading with 3 to go, I'm gonna do everything in my power to bring out a caution.
You're gonna throw the.
I'm gonna throw all sorts of shit onto the track and start climbing the fence. And I don't know, I might bring in a gun with me and just start shooting at the cars or something. Throw a beach ball out there. Something has to happen to prevent Kyle Busch from winning.
I don't think a beach ball would stop it.
I don't know. They throw cautions for nearly everything now, so who knows?
Yeah. You might want to do the same thing if it's Kurt Busch. I think can't let either Busch brother win it.
It's not even that I would hate Kyle Busch winning a race, but just not the 500. I don't want to see him, because then we'll never hear the end of it.
Yeah, that's because that's the one thing he hasn't yet accomplished in his NASCAR Sprint Cup career.
Yeah. And
I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, pretty much.
He must be incomplete. All right, so he misses it by 37 points. Not really a shocker. Next one is his teammate, Kevin Harvick, who missed it by 20 points, which, again, it just goes to show how important that Martinsville race was for him.
Yeah, he, at Phoenix, he wasn't his usual self either. His finish was really deceiving of where he ran, because he was pretty terrible the entire race.
Oh yeah, he was running 7th, 8th place almost the entire race.
Sometimes even worse than that. He was outside the top 10 for a good while.
His 4th place finish again, it's the same thing with his teammate Kurt Busch. It's just a result of crazy shuffling.
He was in the right place at the right time on those restarts, and that was really it.
But he never really had a shot. I think he started 4th on that final restart, finished 4th. And I think, it's really hard to win a race from 4th. Unless if you really And he probably would have done if he had if he had gotten like the best restarts probably imaginable and set himself up to go 3 wide into turn one, he probably would have done it. But
Yeah.
again, like I mean, like odds of winning it, are like 1 in a million. Probably even longer than that.
Yeah, especially against Ogano, who was
Like the ultimate restart,
pretty much. I mean, he's one of the hardest people to beat on those.
That's going to be a great advantage for him at Homestead, Logano.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
can
mean
point.
that race is going to be won on restarts, no doubt.
I mean, what Tony Stewart? I think he took the lead 4 wide in 2011.
Yeah,
Had
something like that. But now more than ever, when they throw a caution, like when somebody sneezes, this whole race is just going to be restart after restart. I mean, it's how it was in 2014 as well. Like the only reason Kevin Harvick had that championship is because he got those cautions at the right time. Otherwise, Hamlin would have been the champion, really. But yeah, I mean, I don't mean to sound like I'm that bitter about any of it. I think it's kind of silly that the whole season comes down to like how you do on a restart.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be the first time that Harvick's. This is the first time since the start of the new chase format where Harvick goes into a race not being a contender.
Yeah.
Like it'll be basically it's the first time he doesn't have the yellow tape over his windshield.
Yep. Although and then like surprisingly wins the pole.
Oh yeah, well,
despite that, which is I don't know. I didn't see him winning the pole at all at Homestead anyway. But
he runs well at Homestead.
no, I know he runs well. I just don't remember him being that great of a qualifier. Like in fact, all of this year he hasn't been that great of a qualifier. Like as far as winning poles.
People catch fire at the end. Not really much else to say.
Yeah.
And well, all right, here it is. And he was 19 points behind the cutoff. Matt Kenseth, the man who had it in the bag up until that final restart, who practically dominated the entire day. I think he led almost all the laps, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he pretty much did. He led like probably all but 10 or something.
We kept talking last week. He struggles at Phoenix. That was almost completely unheard of for him to actually dominate Phoenix, a track that, as I said before, he just struggles at so terribly.
Yeah, well, I think
so to be in that position was in itself pretty miraculous.
Yeah.
But eventually your luck runs out, and at first I thought it was completely Alex Bowman's fault, but then of course it wasn't. I know. Then I saw the replay. It's like, oh wow, it was really his spotter's fault.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. You can say like Bowman just gunned it in. He kept trying. Okay, Bowman did dart it pretty hard on the inside into turn one, but I don't think that was really a problem in of itself. I mean, he could have been more cheered up. I mean, he could have just accepted the fact that Kenseth was gonna be in front to maybe give him more room. But I think the issue comes down to the fact that Kenseth decided to take his spotter's word that he was clear, and I guess there must have been a miscommunication. He probably thought when he meant clear, it was time to just move to to the bottom lane of the inside, the most inside lane.
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to blame Alex Bowman, you could really apportion the same blame to Kyle Busch because like Bowman kind of got shoved in there.
Yeah, I thought it was
And the thing is, like, even if Kenseth didn't come down all the way, I don't think Bowman would have made that corner without hitting him. Like, even if Kenseth left in the lane, he still was going in there a little too hot to suddenly, make it stick all the way around the yellow line. So that's kind of why I put a lot of that on Kyle Busch because, Kyle Busch almost turned him, and Bowman was like in the process of saving it when they were going into the corner. So he was like halfway out of control anyway.
Bowman really had no choice but to stick to the inside line.
Yeah.
But I think it was just a dumb move for Kenseth to go down, almost 2 whole lanes to the inside.
Yep. And of course, fucking Kyle Busch walks out the winner of that one. Not the literal winner, but he benefited the most from that because he would have pretty much been eliminated otherwise.
Oh yeah, again, we'll go into that probably later when we talk about Kyle Busch. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I don't see it getting much better for Kansas at this point. I think this was his last chance to get another championship. I do not think it gets any better for Kansas these next 2 3 years.
Yeah, I agree. He's on his way out. They're grooming Eric Jones to replace him. It's just a matter of when.
Wasn't Eric Jones on the True? Oh, but that's they're a de facto teammate of the Gibbs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he may just stay there, which would kind of secure Kansas' spot for a few more years, I guess. But
It's really it's more of a
even
groom.
then, like Daniel Suarez clearly has what it takes to be a Cup driver soon enough. So he really couldn't replace anyone other than Matt Kenseth, from what it looks like.
I can see Suarez replacing Carl Edwards if Edwards struggles these next couple years.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. Like if Edwards wins the championship this year, then obviously
Maybe
that seals him, 4 more years or something like that. Who knows? But otherwise,
because we can definitely see the new generation rising at Gibbs.
yeah.
This goes to show how powerful Gibbs is going to be probably for the next 5 to 10 years. They don't even just have they're not even their 4 drivers now, which are already like which is already at least the best team. But I mean, even their Xfinity team is the best. Who are being groomed to become the next elite team of Cup drivers. I mean, Gibbs is thinking 5, 10 years ahead, which is something.
Yeah. Well, it's going to all depend on how the rules packages,
Yeah.
ebb and flow. Because if they ever go back to anything like 2014, then Gibbs is screwed because they were terrible that year. In comparison to what they were the past 2 years. So.
Well, we'll just see how the events play out. But I think things just get better for Gibbs as the years go on.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've always been strong.
But not this strong.
I don't know. Back when Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte, back when those two, really had some good cars. I mean, they won the championship in what, 2000, 2005?
2002 and 2005.
Yeah, 2002 and 2005, right? So, I mean, that's 3 championships in the span of 5 years. That's not bad.
And just to be clear with Tony Stewart, even though the 2005 championship was under the chase format, he still would have won that championship anyway if they had gone by the old rules package 2003 and before.
Yeah.
Where it was, just who had the most points and there was no chase system, none of that bullshit.
Yeah, it's like where you actually had to worry about the whole 36 races, or however many they had. So.
I really, really wish we can go back. I'm just hoping for the day.
The thing is, the sad thing about that, I mean, on a quick tangent, the sad thing is, like, NASCAR is largely losing a lot of their old, like, kind of, I don't want to say diehard fans because they're not diehard anymore, but they're losing a lot of, like, kind of the seasoned fans who've been accustomed to that kind of thing. And they're gaining a lot of new fans who are mostly, like teenagers and whatnot, and people who have no concept of what racing really looks like. And those people like love this format. They think it's like the shit, and they're like, holy shit, why doesn't this exist everywhere? Like we should have, like everything be like this.
The gimmick, yeah.
Yeah, and so like those people are really kind of what's fueling this, in my opinion, and they're making it worse. And those are the people NASCAR is catering to with all of these changes.
And they're practically throwing their old school fans, like who the old school fans who made them successful to begin with, under the bus.
Yeah, they're like, hey, fuck you guys.
Yeah, it's kind of like a betrayal almost.
Yeah,
the old ones built it, and now they're getting screwed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can even see that with like the tracks that they've gradually just removed from the schedule. I mean, they've taken off a lot of historic tracks that have been there for decades. and replaced
Atlanta,
him with
North Wilkesboro.
and replaced him with like really shitty cookie cutters. Like North Wilkesboro,
California.
Rockingham, a lot of those places like meant a lot to NASCAR, and we replaced them with like Kentucky.
Yeah, North Wilkesboro was, I think, there from the beginning in 1949.
Yeah, I mean,
and so was Martinsville. Martinsville used to be a dirt track. They've been racing at Martinsville since 1949.
Yeah, I don't think they'll.
God,
if they ever get rid of Martinsville, there would be a fucking outcry.
And while there are a lot of problems I have with Martinsville, it should be preserved just for its historicity. I don't know what the term I'm using, for its historic value.
Right. I agree.
All right. I guess with that, we'll move on to, again, a guy who I predicted to make it to the next round. It didn't happen. Denny Hamlin, who was 6 points back. I do not think he had a pit road problem this time, which is, 3 cheers for the 11 pit crew team.
I know. How ironic is that? Like the one race he doesn't have a pit road problem and he gets eliminated.
Yep. 7th place, and it's just the same problem. I thought he was going to have a top 5 car. He didn't.
Yep. Pretty much. Well, the way the points shook out, though, he pretty much would have had to win anyway. With Logano and Kyle Busch and Kenseth all running in the top 5, like he pretty much would have had to win.
My prediction was that Kyle Busch was going to have trouble. He wasn't going to have a top 5 car. He was going to finish 8th or 9th, and that Denny Hamlin would have like a second or third place car, and that would push him into the championship 4. But it actually went the opposite way.
Yep.
Well, that's a bummer. Like I said, after Chase Elliott was eliminated, I moved to rooting for Denny Hamlin. Now it looks like I'm moving to Carl Edwards.
I don't like Carl Edwards enough to really root for him yet.
He's the least douchey out of all the 4 remaining.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like personally, I want Logano to win it out of these because, for one, I want like Jimmy Johnson fans to see what it's like to like lose a championship because of a format change, because they constantly bitched at Gordon fans for years about that and just like told him suck it up. He raced the format, and then when like he gets robbed of a title, I want to see like what their reaction is. I don't want to see Kyle Busch win because he's Kyle Busch, and I think that's all I need to say. Yeah, and then like Carl Edwards, I don't like he really has kind of sucked most of the season as far as these 4 guys go. And so I think Logano, especially considering like the past 3 years, Logano has won more races than anybody. And he's ran exceptionally well. I kind of think he deserves it. But it doesn't matter what you deserve anymore, so we'll see.
All right, and with that, we'll go into the final 4 and their stats at Homestead and just kind of a year-end analysis of them. I will start it off with the guy who is the defending champion, because and I'll start off with him because he's the one who didn't get in by wins. Kyle Busch, who ran a very exceptionally well race at Phoenix. You still want to blame him for the Bowman Kenseth?
No, I wouldn't blame him for that, but I'm just saying, if you are gonna try and blame Bowman for the people that are doing that, like you would have to pretty much blame Kyle Busch this as well, because I mean they went hand in hand. It's Kenseth's fault, I think, entirely, or his spotter's fault.
It's spotter's fault. I blame the spotter.
Yeah.
Did a lot better. I'll say this about Kyle Busch. I mean, he definitely surprised. I thought he's not very strong. He doesn't run very well at Phoenix, so.
Yeah. Well, he really didn't run well right up until like 30 laps to go. It seemed like.
And boy, especially the end, like with the way that he was gonna miss. What upset me was he was just about to miss the chase. Because Logano pretty much was able to hold off Kevin Harvick. That's at least what it looked like was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something kind of cool about. I mean, and I'll talk about that when I get to Logano. But the idea that Harvick, even though he knew he was out essentially at that point, he was still going to give Logano a race for his money. And why not? Because Logano and Harvick have always butted heads.
Well, not only that, but like it's fucking racing. Like, isn't that what you're supposedly supposed to do?
It felt real. It felt pretty real at that point.
They instituted that 100% rule, which is like one of the dumbest things I've ever seen them do. And then they have like not enforced it whatsoever. So yeah, I think that's the way it should be. I mean, I don't like it's what makes the politics of this chase like so stupid that you could have people outside the chase affect the championship outcome. Like if somebody races somebody too hard or whatever, like they're treated, with a different standard. I mean, look at the Kenseth and Logano incident from last year compared to Danica Patrick and David Gilliland. Like Danica did like pretty much the same thing to David, or she tried. She failed because she's terrible, but she tried to do the same thing to David Gilliland, and she just gets like a slap on the wrist. Whereas like Kenseth affects the championship outcome, so he gets suspended. It's just, I don't know. It's dumb. They need to be pretty unilateral and just say like, look, you need to race everybody, no matter who they are, as hard as you can, or just have no rules about it at all. But pretending that there's like an actual 100% rule is kind of silly at this point because it's obvious there isn't.
I agree.
I mean, yeah, it couldn't be more obvious from like the Talladega race with Gibbs. It's like, oh, let's all run 30th the whole day, and we'll claim that we gave it 100%. It's like, who the fuck are you kidding? But anyway.
No, that's you need to vent it out. No, I'll let you do it. So here's where we go on Kyle Busch and his Homestead statistics. 11 starts, 1 win, which was the 2015 race of last year, which we will not talk about because I don't want to talk about it because it upsets me. Only 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s. His average finish is 21.1. He's so poor at Homestead, but he got one lucky start last year, which lifted him to a championship. And it just happens to be the one race at Homestead that actually matters.
Yeah,
that can lift you to a championship when you've missed 1/3 of the goddamn season.
Pretty much. I mean, he had a good race at Homestead. I won't take it away from him, but
I just want to, but like he's had so many DNFs at Homestead. Like I just want to remind some of the finishes: 41st in 2005, 38th in 2006, 32nd in 2010. That was the one where Kevin Harvick bumped him into the wall, which I think he deserved, by the way.
Yeah, well, he always deserves it.
But... 23rd in 2011 and 39th in 2014.
Yep.
So we're dealing with someone, who, I mean, he's very, his results are very polarizing. I guess you can expect either a top 5 or in the wall. Which one's it going to be?
Well, you know what my money's on. Or my hopes are on. I don't know if I would bet.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, the last thing I want to hear from Kyle Busch fans is, back-to-back bullshit.
Yeah.
Never hear the end of it. And this time, they'll at least say, at least we were here for the entire season. They can't at least hold that one.
Yeah.
Which would piss me off because it's at least nice to know that you can have that little asterisk for 2015.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It still shocks me that happened. Like, I mean, if you were to tell an F1 fan or an IndyCar fan,
oh god,
like, hey, what do you think of the idea of like somebody missing 10 fucking races and being the champion? They'd be like,
yeah, try to tell them
like, are you serious?
Yeah, we have like a bunch of we have some European friends online. F1 fans, yeah.
I'm embarrassed to tell them. Like, I like NASCAR, and the same sentence as telling them, oh, and also Kyle Busch won the championship. They'd be like, what the hell is wrong with your sport? Like, I don't know, man. Well, actually, I do know it's Brian.
I don't want to. I'm tired of getting talked down by Europeans.
Yeah. And I mean, you could always rebut that like F1 sucks dick this season because it has literally been the Mercedes show 100% of the time. Like if you thought Toyota was dominant this year, like you should see what Mercedes has done in F1. It's like they've won every race but 2 out of 19.
It's gonna be that. It's probably gonna be that way for a while.
I hope not, but I don't know. Don't get us sidetracked on F1. Need Fabio in here for that.
All right, so like I said, I really don't want to be Kyle Busch, but if I have to root for him against Jimmy Johnson, I will do it. That's like my last. That's in the emergency situation.
Yeah, I would actually love it if there was some very obscure technicality that prevented anyone from winning the championship. Like there's some rule from like 50 years ago that they somehow neglected, and that manifests itself, and we don't have a champion this year. I would be totally happy with that.
Oh yeah, that could be even a worst case scenario for Brian France.
That would be amazing.
Yep.
Your 2016 champion is Donald Trump. Yeah.
So next is the winner of last week's race, Joey Logano, who, remember I told you this last week, he was out of the 8 drivers who in the chase last week who were running at Phoenix, he was the only one who didn't have a win, but he changed it last week.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, that's the thing with Joey Logano. I mean, he's been showing himself to be a lot more powerful at tracks he's struggled on before.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, like, I'm actually kind of amazed that he won that, given that even as late as like 20 laps to go, I wouldn't have predicted him winning that race at all. Because he was, I mean, if you remember, like, he was legitimately falling back pretty quickly up until that last caution. Like, he was barely, like, holding on to 5th or 4th place, whatever it was, from Kevin Harvick. Like, he started that run, I think, 2nd, and was just falling back continuously. And so I was like, oh, he's done.
All he needed was
somehow he comes back and wins the race.
Just because, yeah, all you need is one guy to wreck. You need Bowman to get held up, and he was actually he restarted first, right? Or wasn't it Kyle Busch who restarted?
No, Logano had the lead on the final restart.
Yeah, and of course got off to a great jump. And I think Kyle Busch just wanted to play it more conservatively.
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted to risk anything. It was actually, he probably held back for 2nd just because he realized that was in his best interest.
Yeah, I was hoping Larson would be like, "Fuck this! I don't need these points," and just dive bomb both of them. But
I think that would have been a great comeback win too if Larson pulled it off. Like,
I would have loved it.
Crashed on lap 1, right next to Logano. Yeah. Well, not crashed, but he spun out.
Yeah. And then fucking Ryan Newman spun him out coming into the pits. Which, if that hadn't happened, like, Larson very realistically could have won. Because he had the car to do it, but he had to fight his way from the back for 2 consecutive times, and he was a lap down for most of the race.
That's the second time at Phoenix, Newman and Larson got bumped into one another, and I think you know what the result.
Like, that's what the spotter said when it happened. He's like, "Holy fuck, what is it with this guy in Phoenix?"
Yeah, he's quite a douchebag at Phoenix, especially.
Yeah.
Remember he got that upset win over Gordon in 2010?
Yep.
Yeah, that one still hurts.
Although I blame Gordon for that. Like, he just choked on the restart.
Like he does a lot.
I mean, he had better tires, a better car, and just let it slip away.
Yep. You accept that. So remember I told you, like, it's the fact that he's doing that Logano, especially over the last couple of years. Like, he had, traditionally, like, I mean, I don't know if I'm saying the word traditionally, but like for the first few years of his racing career, he had struggled at certain tracks. Now he's a force to be reckoned with at those same tracks.
Yeah, I mean, he is getting to the point where he's kind of a contender everywhere they go.
Yeah, everywhere they go.
Like road courses, short tracks,
Bristol,
speedways,
Phoenix,
a mile and a half. So like he can win anywhere.
He can win at Loudon, flat tracks.
So
he can win at Pocono. Probably. He still struggles at Pocono, but he's getting there.
Yeah, I mean, he's improved quite a bit.
See, like, what are the? But he's only got, let's see, the 3 wins he had were Phoenix, or this year, Michigan, Talladega, and Phoenix. I mean, he's always a powerhouse at Michigan, always one of the best. But Talladega, kind of a surprise because this time he actually had to win it for real. Couldn't get it on a Kevin Harvick bullshit move
Yeah.
by holding off Brian Scott of all people.
Yeah, I know. How hard can that be?
And Phoenix, which again, kind of a shocker. But like, let's see, like all the tracks he won at last year. I mean, like Watkins Glen, like no one really saw that one coming.
Yeah, Daytona,
Bristol. He'd also won at Bristol in the 2014 night race, but I mean, then took the sweep. Like Charlotte, now he's a mile-and-a-half guy. Charlotte, Kansas, Talladega.
Yeah, that's actually kind of, like I said earlier, that's kind of, I think he deserves this championship. I mean, if you could say any of them deserve it, which they don't, but he's run well enough over the past
3 years,
this season and the past 2 seasons before it that he's proven himself to be like a championship caliber driver.
Yeah, 14 wins in the last 14 wins in the last 3 seasons. So
right, yeah, I mean he's won. I think he has won more than everyone in that span.
Yeah.
So
I find him very unpleasant.
No, I'm not. I don't like him at all. But whatever. Yeah. I also don't like Jimmy Johnson or Carl Edwards or Kyle Busch. So
all right,
what do I do?
I'm just going for Carl Edwards because he's the underdog. I'll get to him in a minute. Logano stats at Homestead: only 7 starts, no wins. Only 1 top 5, 2 top 10s. His average finish is 17.7, but his only top 5 finish was last year, a 4th place finish.
Yeah.
I think he also started on the pole for that race, or was it second? I think
second. He started second. Hamlin had the pole.
Hamlin had the pole. He started on the front row next to Hamlin. I just didn't know who had who.
Yeah.
Who had what? Like his first 2 races at Homestead, he struggled. 24th in 2009, 39th in 2010. But I mean, at least the last 3 times he's been to Homestead, he's at least been a contender. And he only got that poor 16th place finish when he was in the championship for in 2014 because of a bad pit stop.
Yeah.
So even though like his average finish isn't that good, he's more of a contender. He's at least more of a contender at Homestead than Kyle Busch, at least from a statistics point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially like with what happened to Phoenix, like he's been winning at places he usually isn't good at. So I could see him doing the same thing.
I can see him being the favorite at this point.
Yeah.
Although actually no, I don't. Well, yeah, I only see him as a favorite just because it's hard to really imagine Carl Edwards pulling it off. And here, I next will go into Carl Edwards. Now, his statistics at Homestead are very impressive. I don't think there's really much to talk about with Phoenix. I actually predicted him to win just, to play spoiler, but because he's done well at Phoenix before, but struggled. And I think it was just the same thing with Jimmy Johnson. Wanted to play it more conservatively. Probably just wanted to test.
He probably didn't want to interfere with his teammates either.
Yeah.
So
probably smart. What was it? He finished. He finished 19th.
I can't remember what happened with him.
He was like 14th, I think, before right up until that final restart before Kenseth.
Yeah, I think he had a pit road penalty, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can afford one of those, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm still looking through his stats. He only had, out of the 9 races, he only had 3 top 10 finishes, which was the win at Texas, the 2nd place at Kansas, and the 6th place at New Hampshire.
Yeah.
But man, you just look at all these other finishes. Like 29th at Talladega, which he wasn't even really trying. Like 12th at Charlotte, 14th at Dover, 15th at Chicagoland. I mean, give me a break. Like this guy, really does not have any business being in the championship 4. But he does have the best average finish out of the remaining 4 at this one particular track, which he historically has dominated at.
Yeah. Yeah, although lately at Gibbs, he hasn't been that good there. I don't
Yeah,
think. Like, he was okay last year for a while, but I think he kind of fell off ultimately. I don't remember where he finished.
Yeah, well, here's his Homestead stats: 12 starts, 2 wins, 2008 and 2010. 5 top 10s, which is I mean that's pretty impressive, and 7 top 10. Yeah, wait, 5 top 5s,
Yeah,
seven
I
top
figured that's
tens.
what
What
you
am I
meant.
saying? His average finish is 9.3, which is impressive. I already told you it was the best out of the 4 remaining drivers. More than 50% chance of getting a top 10, but he has not gotten a top 10 since 2011, where he lost the tiebreaker to Tony Stewart.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes down to. Like when I said he was dominant, I mean like he usually would get top 5 finishes up until 2012. Since then, his results have been a 12th place finish in 2012 at Homestead, a 12th place finish in 2013, 34th in 2014, and 11th last year, 2015.
Yeah.
So,
I think a lot of that early success was because like Roush used to be the best team at Homestead. Like, you remember Greg Biffle won like
Greg
3
Biffle won
consecutive races.
yeah, 2004 through 2005, but
Yeah.
no more Roush mystique now. But that doesn't change the fact that I mean, he can still pull it off.
Yeah,
Even
no, I'm
I mean, yeah, the 9.3 you have to take into consideration. Like he's going to be working with the Gibbs team that probably doesn't have the same packet. That doesn't have the same. I mean, like it's not going to be the same kind of dominant era that Roush had at Homestead. But when you work, but you're still on the same team that won it at Homestead last year. So I think odds are still in his favor. But I still think Logano would be the favorites. Just because of we're just talking about recent history with Logano versus the recent history of Edwards. I think it more tilts in his favor, Homestead or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But like I said, I will still root for Edwards anyway because again, ultimate underdog. He's been always looking for that win, and he's just not able to get it. He's basically the Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh man,
I had to put that in there.
no, it was good.
Yeah. And finally, it'll end with Johnson, who, God, what was it with? He finished, I think, 38th at Phoenix. He was like 26 laps down. I know he had that problem where he was held a lap because he came onto pit road ahead of the pace car. And then he got caught up in a crash, I believe, where I think he hit the back of Austin Dillon and punctured his nose.
By the way, completely disappointed me that he didn't wreck Harvick. But anyway.
Yeah. But, he could afford that. But that's just another. But, I mean, remember, I think we talked about this. Like, every other year at Phoenix now, he has a problem, a mechanical problem. He finishes in the 30s every other year. He finished in the 30s in 2012 and 2014, now in 2016. Keep that pattern going. And that's the Phoenix fall race.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just it's he didn't have to run so hard at Texas or Martinsville. But I mean, at least like here's the thing. Here's why I don't really think. I mean, at least like with Jeff Gordon after he won Martinsville, he was at least competitive at Texas and Phoenix.
Yeah.
Maybe he could be somewhat competitive at Homestead. Like Johnson wasn't even competitive in the last 2 races, which I think he should have been if he really wants to be considered, if he wants to be taken seriously for Sunday.
Yep. I mean, he not only that, but he had the potential to keep somebody else out by winning at those places, and he didn't. So it's not like he didn't have the incentive. He just didn't seem to perform well.
I think he had a really good incentive to try to keep Edwards out. I mean, Edwards is definitely a threat to him at Phoenix. I mean, at Homestead.
Yeah.
He's always run better than him there. I think the same for Logano.
Yep.
I think it's the same thing with Hendrick every year. It's like, you can make it to the championship season. I mean, you can make it to the championship race, but you're certainly not going to come in as the favorite. But, Donald Trump wasn't the favorite either.
Yeah, Donald Trump is sort of just thrown a wrench into all the prediction paradigms that we have been accustomed to.
Yeah.
Literally anything goes at this point.
Yeah, so it wouldn't really surprise me if Johnson gets it, but this is the thing that irritates me. I'm so tired of all this, you can finally get number 7, compare him to Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt, and I'm not going to put up with that.
Yeah.
Like, he is not Dale Earnhardt, and he is not Richard Petty. He is not a 7-time champ. He will, even if he gets it, I will not consider him a 7-time champion.
No, I mean, just look, like, I hate that comparison between them, because if you think about it, like, Richard Petty won 200 fucking races. It took him 200 races to get 7 well, not 200, but it took him
took him over 100 wins to get.
Yeah, it took him a lot of wins and a lot of seasons to get to 7. Same thing with Dale Earnhardt. Like, it took him a long time to get to 7 because it was a lot harder back then. And so, like, when people are like, yeah, Jimmy Johnson's in the same league, it's like, no, he wasn't. Like, when he wins 27 races in a season and does shit like that and gets 7 Daytona 500s, then, like, yeah, then I'll compare him. But until then, like, no thanks.
Fuck off, Johnson fans, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I'd like to see him lose just because I want to see, like, Jimmy Johnson fans, like, finally understand why Jeff Gordon fans hated the chase so much.
Oh, yeah. I'll go over the starting positions for each of them, but Johnson, final look at his Homestead stats: 15 starts, 0 wins. I think this is one of 3 tracks he has no wins at. Homestead, Kentucky, which, we can understand because it's Kentucky. We've only been racing there since 2011, and Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
But he has four top 5s and 9 top 10s. I mean, so he's got a 60% chance of getting into the top 10, but I think those lack of top 5s are really going to hurt him. But yeah. I think his best finish was 2nd in 2010, where he was able to upset Denny Hamlin for the championship.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. That's why you can't really count Johnson out, because he's pulled off the upset at Homestead before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, you have to consider, like, the way NASCAR is playing out now. Like, Brian France will not accept anything less than one of the Final 4 winning Homestead. So it's not like he's gonna have, like, a top 5 is gonna be good enough. Like, he's pretty much gonna have to win.
Now, if you're going up against Edwards and Busch, then yeah.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but I think they're just going to be, like, mysterious cautions up until the point where a chase guy is actually leading. If that's not the case,
it's going to be a little harder for him, like, especially with those Gibbs cars. I mean, I can definitely imagine Hamlin getting up there and protecting the lead of his teammates. Same thing with Kenseth. I mean, he's not really going to have that kind of luxury with Casey Kane or Alex Bowman.
Yeah, Casey Kane, I don't see him running that well. I mean, he qualified, like, Casey Kane qualified, like, what, 27th or something?
32nd or something.
Yeah, I mean, that should be a pretty big indication. He's just not going to be worth much at Homestead.
He's on his way out soon, yeah.
Although Chase Elliott looked really strong in qualifying. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't get the pole, but
yeah, this is his first Cup race at Homestead.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he can get that one win towards the end of the year. Remember, that's the thing with Gordon. He came close a few times in '93, his rookie season.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe it'll be the parallels, like leading the first lap of the Daytona 500.
I don't know. It's going to be pretty hard for him to replicate what Jeff Gordon did in his early years.
I know. It's just fun. It's always fun to find the parallel.
Yeah, because he went from, like, 2 races in 1994, 2 wins, I mean, to, like, 10 wins the next season, and then, like, 10 more wins. Like, he had, 3 or 4 seasons where he had 10 or more wins?
Yep.
Like, that's the only person ever to do that really was Richard Petty before him. And, like, since then, nobody's really done it at all. So.
Yep. All right. So yeah, that will be the race results Sunday. That'll be the race preview for Sunday. not the results. What am I saying?
Yeah.
And maybe
Who
if it's
knows?
possible, we can probably do the review for Homestead. We could just do it Sunday night after the race is over.
Yeah, assuming like I'm not so pissed off from a Kyle Busch victory or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I'll do it anyway. Yeah, raw emotion, right? If you throw a hissy fit, it's cool.
Yeah, I might. I mean,
You can do it.
Don't
Yeah,
put it past me.
but yeah, I mean, maybe, like I said, I'm more worried about a Jimmy Johnson win just because I don't. Like I said, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
like
I
you
don't want to
can,
see him get 7 either, but I would
yeah,
rather do it than Kyle Busch just because I find him more tolerable.
yeah. Oh yeah, like he'll probably have like he has a special flag probably made like back to back, and then you'll have all those stupid Kyle Busch fans.
I know. It's gonna be fucking terrible.
Oh,
He's gonna like I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. Although if he, like I said, I think I said the last time, I wouldn't mind seeing him like dominate the race and then like blow a tire on the last lap and somebody else get the championship. I would be okay with that because the Kyle Busch like hysteria afterwards would be legendary.
I'd love to see Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch battle for the lead on the last lap and then crash coming out of turn 4.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah. I'd be fine with that as well.
All right. That's we'll see what happens Sunday, but I guess fingers crossed for Edwards at this point. That's really all I can do.
Yeah.
And that's not. And I really didn't want to say that at this point.
Well, it has been that kind of year.
Oh yeah, it does. I mean, great first half of this season, but goddamn, like fuck the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't it just completely paled in comparison to the first half.
And I mean,
those first
second
couple
half
races were such a tease because we didn't get anything like that since then.
And this is the second half where Gordon announces he's coming out of retirement for a little bit, semi-retirement, I guess.
Yeah.
And not even that even that wasn't good enough, like to make the second half exciting.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, we'll see what we get for 2017. I'm still crossing my fingers for Gordon to have a few more races.
I'd actually rather he didn't because it's kind of painful to watch him run like 20th. I mean, it'd be awesome if he won, but you also have to consider like, what if he just completely sucks? Like that would be kind of hard to stomach.
Come on, Rick, man. Maybe Rick Hendrick could field a 5th car for Daytona, just for the hell of it.
Well, it wouldn't be for Gordon though, but.
I can see that happening. I mean, I know Gordon works at Fox, but I mean, so does Michael Waltrip, but he always races at the 500.
Oh yeah, because he does the truck series, though. He comments on the truck series anyway. But like Jeff Gordon hates restrictor plate racing now. I think he said that.
Well, it's the Daytona 500. Suck it up.
Well, you can talk to him about that then.
I wish I could.
Start tweeting at him.
What would be his like number? Like, I mean, if there was a 5th car, maybe. I think my hope would be that they would field out a 5th car number, and it would be number 92, like to commemorate his first race, like in '92.
No, I don't know. I can't remember what his car number was before he joined Hendrick. I mean, like up to that point, I think he always had one number as a kid.
I think he was just number 1.
Well, that was in like the Babe Ruth car, but before that, I think he was like 37 or something in all his like sprint car stuff.
Nobody wants to be 37. That's like,
yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens for 2017. I think 2017 we might see more exciting stuff in the first half.
Maybe. I think 2017 will be better because Larson will come on and assume the role of legend that he's always been meant for.
I think you're dreaming.
Looking like 18 wins in the season.
You're insane. You're insane. All right, so I'm gonna call it a night here, and we'll probably be back either Sunday or Monday night. All right.